Hello and welcome to Conversations with the Voice of Reason. I'm your host, Benjamin Boyce, and today's conversant is actor, or ex-actor, and therapist David Sutcliffe. He once was a star in Gilmore Girls and has since left Hollywood and focused on therapies, specifically focusing on men's issues and within the subset of men's issues, men who are married. In this conversation, we talk about masculinity, his life as an actor, and where young men might be headed and why scolding them just doesn't really work if it ever did. You can find links to David's work down there in the description, as well as links to support this channel. Without further ado, here is David Sutcliffe. I don't have the awesome background that you do.
I know, right? I got this black slate, gray slate. It's super cool.
Did you
I got
carve that
lucky.
yourself?
I carved it myself. No, I'm in
Or,
Mexico and I was looking for a little office, little recording studio, and my
oh,
wife was like, "Let's go up here," and walked into this little spot. It's like a tiny home that somebody built,
oh, I thought it
and
was like Orthanc or something.
no, just a little tiny home, and this was the backdrop they had, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect." It's very masculine.
Yeah, it's stark, you know.
Yeah, it's a statement. I got the little light to lighten it up, but
Yeah, the little peace
the
sign,
little guy, I
little
probably need some
Nixon.
green, flowery things. We never got around to it. I was like, that's my wife's job, and she just
Uh,
forgot about me.
oh, okay. In a tiny home, how can she get you off her mind?
No, this is my office. My office is the tiny home.
Oh, she gave you the tiny home.
Yeah, she's like, get out of the
Yeah.
house. Yeah, no, so this is my office. I'm in Valle de Bravo, Mexico. I've been here for a year. And most people, they've never heard of Valle de Bravo. It's a mountain town. Not like think of it like Lake Tahoe of Mexico, kind of a rich getaway for Mexico City folks. But yeah, 2.5 hours, 2 hours west of Mexico City. So we've been here for a year, and it's great. We love it.
Do you feel like a colonizer or an expat, or what's your
I
relationship to Mexico?
It's a good question. I don't speak Spanish, and I haven't. My wife is fluent, and I haven't really been learning. I'm 56. It's hard at my age to learn
To
new things.
care.
Yeah, and to care. But I feel a little alienated. We're moving back. I'm homesick for the U.S., despite how crazy it is.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Canada. I have a Canadian father and an American mother. They met at Denver University. My dad was down there on a hockey scholarship. I was born in Saskatchewan, grew up in Southern Ontario in the Niagara region, lived in Toronto for about 9 years, went to
Hmm.
University of Toronto, and then I moved out to LA in '98, and I was there for 20 years, a couple of years in Austin, and then we came down here, and now we're going back to Austin in January.
Austin. Yeah.
hmm Where are you?
I went to Bible college in Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, actually.
What?
1996, way back in the day.
That's amazing. But
Tiny, tiny.
where are you from?
I'm in, well, I grew up outside around Sacramento, California.
Okay.
And now I've been in the Pacific Northwest for 20 years, 25 years now.
That's a nice place
So
to be.
it's okay. I mean, the politics are shit, but the land is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
The rain? It rains a lot.
we just moved to Spokane, which is Eastern Washington. It's a completely different climate, but yeah, I was in the Portland, Seattle, Olympia corridor for a very long time, which is very rainy. Kind of like Britain, actually. Because Britain, Japan, and Pacific Northwest have the only places where that climate exists. I think there's probably an island. Like,
Wow. I didn't know Japan was a rainy place.
yeah, it's this yeah, it's like it's oceanic rainforest. It's a very
Right.
particular type of climate.
Hmm. But
But
Spokane is not so bad.
uh, if you miss the rain, you're gonna miss it here. But if you miss the sun, you're not gonna miss it here. It's very sunny.
Okay.
It means people of the sun, Spokane. So
Oh.
it's a very sunny. It's a different disposition. We just moved here this year, so I'm still adjusting to the vibe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love
You-
that part of the United States. Yeah, I think about moving there, but politics and then I think about the rain. But we like Austin. I was there for 3.5 years.
okay.
It's hot as hell,
Yeah.
but it's a cool city. It's got stuff going on.
My
Nice people.
wife grew up south of there in San Antonio. We just visited
Okay.
last year, I
Yeah.
think. So pretty cool. University of Toronto, right?
Hmm.
That's a very premier university. A lot of people who have had a lot of impact in a certain corner of the internet came through there. Jordan Peterson, John Vervaeke, Jonathan Peugeot didn't go there, but he's right in
Yeah.
that area. How was what was the impact on your intellectual life of going through Toronto?
Um, I I I was an English lit major, also
I'm
played on the
sorry.
varsity basketball team. And so I was kind of a jock. And then I got injured when I was there and in my second year. And then that's when I started doing theater and I got into acting.
Huh.
So once I got into acting, I had no interest in school because I was acting in plays, directing plays, producing plays. And I thought, well, this is far more interesting than reading a play and then writing an essay about it. I'm actually going to produce the play.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the end of my academic career. I did ultimately graduate, but I became disillusioned at a certain point because I remember the moment looking at my professor, who was very smart. It was in my romantic poetry class in my second year, studying Wordsworth and Keats and Byron. And I remember thinking, this woman has never left this world.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want to be learning from people who have never left this insulated world. And so I appreciated the. I mean, I had a great time, but I ultimately realized that yeah, that kind of education wasn't really for me. Although being surrounded by the history of the place, Northrop Frye
Oh yeah.
was the big guy because I was in Victoria College. So you would hear a lot about him, and yeah, no, it was a lot of smart people, but I didn't fit in. It wasn't
Mm.
my thing.
You became a thespian.
I did,
Like, did you
yeah,
cross over into film or did you stick to the
yeah. No,
stage?
I was in Hollywood for 20 years. I had a whole career. Most people know me from Gilmore Girls. I played the dad, Rory's dad, on Gilmore Girls, which ran for 7 seasons, and then has become a kind of a classic. Netflix. And then they did a reboot, the whole thing.
Huh.
So yeah, no, I worked in television and some film, pretty solid for about 15 years, 20 years, and but ultimately got out of it. It kind of ran its course, and it gets harder as you get older. It gets more competitive. So
Yeah.
I switched into what I'm doing now.
When did you what years were there? Because Hollywood's kind of changed over the last, I guess, really rapidly over the last 10, 15 years, the wokeification of it. How was it when you were there?
When I was
You might be woke. I don't know
I'm
enough
not
about you,
woke. No,
so
no. I hate the woke. I
okay, there we
despise the
go.
woke. I went to, yeah, I'm at war against the woke.
Okay, there we go. Just to get
Yeah,
that
no. Yeah, let's get
baseline.
it out. Let's get it out in the way. Uh, no, no, it's fine. I understand. I understand woke, but I'm not woke. I no, when I was there, I mean, I didn't know anything. I came from Canada. It's a pretty liberal place. I didn't know much about politics. So I just was liberal. And then when Obama came along, I was like, wow, cool. There's going to be a black president. I was fully bought in. It wasn't really till the end of the Obama presidency, which I guess was about the time that I was, making my exit from Hollywood, where I started to realize not just that just the whole system was corrupt and it didn't really matter whether it was Democrats or Republicans. But my experience, I had a great time, man. I mean, I think it was before the fall when I got there. Television, it was before the internet.
Mm,
So there was no competition when I got there.
yeah.
TV was huge and getting bigger and bigger every year. So there was lots of opportunities. Friends was the biggest show right about when I started to arrive. And
Okay.
I was a young, kind of cute, kind of funny guy. So there was like a million things, friends ripoffs
Yeah.
for, young, kind of handsome romantic comedy dudes. So I had a lot of work for a while. which was great. It surprised me. I didn't know that that's what was going to happen. When I started doing theater at University of Toronto, I mean, I didn't really know what it was going to be, what I was going to do. I guess I looked around me, and most people in Canada were doing theater and then doing a little bit of movie and television in Toronto. But ultimately, I wasn't getting anywhere in Toronto. So I moved to New York and then immediately got a pilot and just realized I didn't know, this didn't happen to me in Canada. When I got to LA, I realized I'm very castable. I'm very
Hmm.
right for a lot of things in American television. And so I went with it. It was great. I was making money. I was meeting interesting people, having incredible experiences. And I was, I'm a pretty good actor. Like I'm not the best, but I'm solid. Like, if you hire me, you're going to get a decent performance. I know what I'm doing. I can remember my lines. I understand the story. Like I can deliver.
Hmm.
But there was also a certain point where I started to work with people who were very, very good. And I realized like, oh, okay.
What could
That's
you
something else.
could you describe that, the like that gulf between being
It's just
good and
talent. It's just talent. It's like a musician sits down and somebody, starts playing the guitar and you just feel it. There's something coming off them that's a little bit different.
yeah,
And I mean, I could have, if had I worked hard and really, really dedicated myself to it, I'm sure that I'd still be working. But yeah, there's just certain people you encounter and you can just, they're so into it. Like, that's all, they're almost like children. Like, I don't mean this as a knock because it's
no,
like you almost have to maintain that
brand,
childlike innocence to
yeah,
to be a great actor. And there's obviously a light and a shadow to that. But I wasn't really willing to go there. You have to go a little bit mad, I think, to go all the way in.
hmm.
And I could just feel some part of me is like, that's not my path.
Your Canadian part, your
Maybe, or maybe I just had some sense that I had some other destiny or
oh,
or calling. But yeah, when you work with somebody who's really like Lauren Graham, who was the lead of Gilmore Girls, I mean, and she's done a lot of movies, huge career, Parenthood. Yeah, I mean, I could keep up with her, but you know,
there's
like
something different.
there's something different. Matthew Modine. I remember that's when I was like, I'm done. I
Hmm.
did a scene with Matthew Modine. I was just like, this guy. Wow. I didn't even know what he was doing. There was just something that was coming off him, and he was so present in the scene, and the choices he was making. I was just captivated
Wow.
in the scene. And you realize, oh, that's why he's Matthew Modine. That's why he was like the guy for, I don't know how long. Well, he had a 5-year run where it's like Matthew Modine was the man.
Hmm. What was your trajectory out of that industry? I said you said it was getting too competitive, but did that your calling kind of emerge?
Well, actually, I started to make the transition, or at least had the realization that I might go in a different direction right at the height of my success. It's a classic story. You get everything you want and you're not happy. And I just come off a TV series. I bought a house. I was dating a movie star, somebody that everybody would know, a beautiful woman. I couldn't believe it.
Hmm.
Lots of opportunity, meeting interesting people, good, it just felt like I'd arrived. But I wasn't, I wasn't into it. For some reason, there was just this lingering feeling of dissatisfaction, doubt, not belonging. And of course, is it just me? Is it the imposter syndrome? Is it my own insecurity? Will I not allow myself to be successful? I mean, I had all kinds of thoughts and ideas trying to make meaning of it. And then this woman dumped me, and it kind of took me down for whatever reason. I'd
Hmm.
never been dumped before like that, and I didn't really understand what was going on, but I was really devastated by it and maybe a little shamed that I was devastated by it. It's like, why
Hmm.
do I care? Why did I let this get to me? And I'd done a little bit of therapy up to that point, so I had some awareness. Actually, more than a little therapy. I'd been doing therapy on and off since I was 27. I was 35 at the time, and then a friend recommended this week-long workshop at the Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California, which is a kind of classic retreat center. It started back in the 60s, and
Was that featured in Mad Men, the last
Yeah,
few
at the end of
episodes?
Mad Men, he goes to Esalen.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible place. I mean, just beautiful on the coast, Big Sur overlooks. I mean, it's stunning. And I went to this workshop. It was a workshop called Radical Aliveness, which sounded ridiculous to me. I mean, I had a lot of judgment about it, but the foundation of the work was called Core Energetics, and I'd done some core energetics, was a somatic psychotherapy in the tradition of Wilhelm Reich and Alexander Lowen, who's the creator of bioenergetics. And I just resonated with it. Like, it's like your feelings are in your body. It's like
Yeah.
feeling. We're going to feel here. We're not just going to talk about our emotions. We're going to get into it,
Yeah.
express. And I like that. And I get, maybe because I came from being an actor, I took to it and I went up to this workshop and I just got my mind blown, not just by the experience that I had, but watching this woman named Anne Bradney facilitate. I'd been around a lot of talented people, obviously in Hollywood, but and I felt the same way with her. Like, this is a real life master. And I had this intuition, like I want to know what she knows and I want to be able to do what she does. I don't know where that came from, but that was
Hmm.
just the thought that I had at the end of that workshop. And so I started going to her weekend workshops, and eventually she opened up her own school. She was teaching at the Core Energetics Institute in New York City, but then split off to kind of do her own thing. And it was in LA, and I was living there, so I enrolled. And that was really the beginning of my new life and the beginning of the end of my old life.
Is there similarity between this kind of therapeutic work and like an acting class? I know
Yeah.
you actors like yell at each other and do these weird
Yeah.
little tests stuff.
Yeah.
What was it about it that you wanted to do that she was doing? Was it directing? Was it opening people? Was it connecting?
I guess it felt like the techniques that they had, and the philosophy and the approach, the style, the container that was created, however you want to think about all that, it 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 gave permission to what I felt like get to a deep level of emotional truth. And I think that's what I was looking for in the acting.
Hmm.
And her philosophy was like, don't hold anything back. You don't have to hold anything back. And that's quite an invitation when you think about it, because we're holding back all the time. And so it's like, wait, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Like, just express and say everything. I mean, obviously there's rules and restrictions, but not really. Like, I can bring out my murderous rage. I can express my judgment or my hatred towards somebody else in the room. I can't physically hit them, but I can take a foam block and like play out killing them if I want, or
Hmm.
killing my mother or killing my father, and allow myself to go into the emotion of it. And what I discovered is that when you allow yourself to go all the way into the emotions that you hold back, things are revealed to you. The restriction in that was held in the body, the energy, the emotion is connected to your awareness. And so suddenly, like, memories would come back, things in my childhood which I disassociated from.
Hmm.
And I'd realize, like, oh, I made decisions at a young age that were unconscious, that are completely directing my life. And I wouldn't have got to that awareness in a conversation. You needed to
Okay.
like almost lose control through the body, screaming, yelling, kicking, tantruming, whatever it was. I mean, it's all contained in a
It
way. It's
sounds
not, it's
childish again.
it is, yeah. And it's not just primal therapy, like, when you see like a Osho documentary and everyone's just running around a room screaming. It's a little bit of that. But when you're actually doing the work, it's very specific, it's very contained. There's an emotional logic to it. There's a thread. And once like, everybody who comes to it takes about a day for people to get it. Like, at first it seems weird, but then once you're in, you're like, oh, okay, no, this makes total sense.
Yeah. How does how does narrative work alongside it? Like you experience it and then you have to process it and put it into words, I assume, somehow. What's the process of like reconstructing what you're going through, tying it to words, tying it to memories, tying it to stories?
It's a great question. Yeah, you're trying to get to the essence of the feeling. So I don't know if this is exactly the question you're asking, but the way that I think about it, there's sort of two levels of reality. Well, at least when I'm working with somebody, they have the story of what happened. This is what happened to me. These are the details. This was the context,
Yeah.
and that's important in one way. But really, what I'm interested in is what was your emotional experience? Like what happened for you internally? And often those two things are not fully connected or aligned, of course, because the mind, we have confirmation, we have all kinds of biases, but confirmation bias and we rationalize, right? We disassociate, we make up stories in our head to make sense of our feelings. And so what you're trying to do is get past the story, the mind story,
Yeah.
and into the core feeling. And then in some sense, like rewrite the story. But yeah, you have to use language. And there's a hypnotic suggestion quality to it. Like there is a kind of hypnosis in it where you have to, because you're trying to bypass somebody's rational mind and get to that unconscious emotional place. So yeah, there's a narrative element, but it's not. It's almost what I call there's an emotional logic that you have to pull somebody through.
And you can sense that, or
You can sense, yeah, exactly. You sense it. It's so fucking like if you're in the room, Benjamin, and we were doing a workshop, everybody can feel it. Like it's like a story, right? Like you go to the movies, we understand story because there's an archetype to it. Even
hmm,
if you've never been taught story, you've never studied story, there's an arc. There's this kind of logic to it.
hmm.
And then you look at the stories in the movie and you're like, oh, that is kind of how life works. Like maybe not perfectly like that, but there is this kind of arc or this hero's journey that we go on over and over. So there is some thread underneath everything. And so you're trying to I'm trying to teach people that narrative, like how that works,
Hmm.
and then how to follow it because it's just a deeper level of truth.
When we're speaking about California, Big Sur, LA, therapy, all those things, religion too, all those things can give rise to toxic versions of the same thing. Cult leaders. California just produced so many wicked, outlandish little groups. How do you know when you're on the right path, or how do you know when you're not? It sounds like you could be getting a lot of power out of entering into and shepherding somebody along this
Yeah,
really deep personal thing. What is the guideline, the guy rail for you as the facilitator of this to know that you're not impressing your own deals on it?
well, you have to be extremely vigilant. I mean, this is one of the things that they teach you in the training. Like there's obviously there's transference, projection. That's the client is projecting onto you, but you're also projecting
Yeah.
onto the client, and you have to be very, very diligent about that. Like
So
this
you
is
have to be doing the
why
work on your own self.
yeah. You have to recognize the thoughts, the patterns. Like there's a certain kind of quality or relationship dynamic. It's often around boundaries, but it's very easy to become enmeshed with your clients, which is a very dangerous thing, or to unconsciously recreate relationships. And it can happen. It happens to every therapist. Like this is just, everybody's got a story or two
Hmm.
because it's hard to see. And the other thing is they're doing all kinds of things. If I'm giving therapy to you, or you've come to me for therapy, you're what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get past your defenses and get to the truth of what you're actually experiencing so you can free yourself from your suffering. I mean, that's one way of
Mhm.
thinking about it or looking at it. But your defense doesn't want to be exposed. And our defenses act in all kinds of subtle strange, seductive
Mhm.
ways, and if you're susceptible to that, you can get caught, and most people do. So, yeah, you have to stay. When I was younger, it was harder, especially because when you're starting out, you want to be good, you want people to like you want to feel like you're doing a good job. And all of that is very dangerous, of course, because if you have a need that the client approves of you, you're fucked. They own you, right? They have
Mm.
control. And that's where it can get a little bit weird. So yeah, this is a conversation that therapists are always, or good therapists, I think, should, but among my colleagues, we're talking about it
Mm.
all the time.
Your pinned tweet rails against therapy, specifically for men.
Yeah.
And yet,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a bit of marketing, but it's true. I mean, I do think that I mean, like, I wasn't trained in traditional therapy, so I didn't go through that academic system and
mm,
have to go through all that certification. I did do a 5-year training program with what I would consider top professionals. So I feel very confident in the training that I received. But my training was feminized, and it was a big thing that came up at I brought it up often
mm.
that there was a masculine perspective that was not being seen, and in fact was being pathologized. I'm
Even
showing
in
up as
this
a man.
alternative
Yes, even in
space.
this alternative space, yeah.
Okay.
And because it was a lot of women, it was mostly women in this program and gay men, and there was a few. I mean, there was a number of straight guys, but I was the only kind of ex jock, let's say, kind of masculine man, and I
Hmm.
really felt like I was missed all the time, like not understood, and that certain qualities that I brought were made bad or shamed or like I said, pathologized. Like, oh, you need to get over something. And it's like, no, I have a lot of aggression. I'm a man. I've had it since I was a little kid. Like,
Yeah.
my aggression is good. It's a
Hmm.
good part of me. I don't have to explain it away. I mean,
Okay.
how I express that aggression, we can get into that. And so I think, yeah, no, I think, 80%, I think now of 70, 80% of therapists are women. And most of them have been trained at places that are woke-ish or woke light, and they're bringing what I would say that's a kind of theology, an ideology into the practice, which I think is antithetical to therapy. But I think it's just become embedded in it. And so I'm very sympathetic to all
Hmm.
the criticisms of therapy. Nevertheless, I think therapy with a good therapist is like invaluable. I mean, and there's some great therapists out there. I've had great therapists. I know great therapists. And, it's kind of simple. It's like, do you want to understand yourself in a deeper way or not? Like,
Hmm.
I want to understand myself emotionally. I'm trying to get free. I want to know everything about myself. And I can't do that on my own. I need somebody else, a professional, to help reflect me back to me so that I can see myself.
There is a lot. Well, I guess it's a perennial thing. There's certain topics that on the internet or the realm of human attention distilled into mimetic, sentences and images. There's certain topics that keep on just are perennial. One is race, one is sex, and one is probably God theology. Those tensions between those different things. In the gender space, there's all these different conversations going on, but on the surface level, there's this realm of gender slop, is what it's called, where men are hating on women, women are hating on men, and they're just like throwing crap at each other constantly and getting a lot of attention in the process, negative or positive attention. Um, and then what's really salient right now in the political arena, and what I've been saying for a while now, is that whoever can capture the attention and the intention of young men is going to win this so-called culture war. It
Yeah.
all kind of lays at the feet of who can give them direction and kind of give them marching orders and how to march as well. And there's a lot of worry around when the right is kind of masculine coded, and there's a lot of young right men and white that are shit posting. They're playing around with ideas that you're not supposed to play with. They're getting radicalized, but they're doing it kind of tongue in cheek. And the conversation around them is kind of from a pearl clutching perspective.
Yeah.
And oh, you shouldn't say that, and you shouldn't. And they're not going to do that anymore because they've been growing up in this world that's pathologized them to the
Yeah.
nth degree. So that's a long way of like establishing a question of what do you think young men need? What are they expressing right now? If you're really, if you are plugged in online, you might not be in to the
No, I'm
degree
plugged
that
in. I
I
know
am.
what's
Okay.
going. I know everything you're talking about.
So what is your assessment of that? What do they need? What are they seeking? And what is it the proper role as the uh, ostensibly the wise men in the world to communicate, connect, and give them.
Well, listen, Nick Fuentes is here for a reason.
Mm,
Okay, like he
good, you dropped
was.
it. I did all that just
Yeah,
not to
no,
mention his name. Okay, there we go.
yeah, no, I love Nick. I mean, I am. Listen, he's unbelievably entertaining. He's super
Talk about
talented.
talent. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
yeah.
So that's that. When people like Nick Fuentes, I'm like, this is a genius. He's a talent. Like you're not going to defeat him because he's that talented, and he seems to have enough self awareness and enough ground that he can manage whatever is going to happen to him, being in the eye of the storm.
Mm.
But what did you think was going to happen when you told young white men that they were evil? Or at least that's the message that they received, that all the problems of the world are your fault and your masculinity is toxic.
Yeah,
Right. I know that's not what they're saying, but that's how how they hear
yeah.
it.
You're the only one that's responsible for everybody else's suffering, including your
Ex-
own.
exactly. So I think that if you look at the process of like you have to go through this stage of protest, like fuck you, fuck. You know what? Yeah, fuck the Jews. The Holocaust didn't happen. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Go fuck yourself. Like you have to let them go through that.
Yeah.
Like you have to give it to them. Like it's like okay, they're not going to stop because they've been pushed down for so long. Now, obviously, you need to be careful of that. Like anytime, like if I'm taking somebody through a process, like an emotional process, and they experience depression in some way or deep trauma, you have to give them permission to express their rage. You absolutely, they have a right to their rage, to their fuck you, fuck that. And obviously, you don't want to keep them there. You want to move them ultimately to the pain, right? Because
Mm.
there's pain underneath that. Because what is the pain here? They weren't seen, they weren't understand, they were made wrong, they were made bad, they weren't listened to, they weren't understood, right? They were demonized, they were otherized. That's painful, right? And so from my perspective as a mature man, it's like, yes, I want to support them in, expressing themselves. That's why, like, you're not going to put a container on it. It's just not going to happen. It's only going to make it worse.
Mm.
You have to kind of gently guide them towards a more responsible use of that energy. And I've watched enough Nick Fuentes to think that he's got some wisdom. Like he's not out to set the world on fire. I don't think. We'll see what happens. I mean, he after the Charlie Kirk assassination, I thought it was remarkable what he said. His podcast or his broadcast, I guess it is. Afterward, I thought he was very measured and telling his supporters to not do anything drastic, don't go to violence, don't get revenge. Like I thought that was pretty interesting. So there are some leaders I think that are have some sense of responsibility. I interviewed Andrew Tate, and he's obviously another one who's got certain ideas about masculinity. And again, people would scream and yell about Andrew Tate, and I was like, well, what did you expect after 15 years of feminism? Like, of course you were going to get Andrew Tate. Like he's the counterbalance to that. Like that energy needs expression, and he's extreme. He's on the far pole, but a lot of what he's saying is like correct. like,
Hmm.
like what, he's telling men, it's like, you need to be a provider. You got to take care of your woman. Like there's things in what he's saying that are absolutely true. So,
So the first step is to not feminine, not take the feminine position and try to manage their emotions.
no, you can't. You have to let them go through it. I mean, this is why, and I know people, they had, I have a friend and she had a young, she's a kid. I mean, he's older now. He's graduated from high school, but I've known her for a long time. I watched her. He was a really rambunctious kid. And she was always asking me, what should I do? What should I do? Because he's getting in trouble at school all the time. And she would tell me about the way the teachers, which were mostly women, how they were handling him. I was like, you got to get him out of there. And she sent
Mm.
him to an all male school, and it turned around in a day.
Mm.
And so that's, I think, a big part of the problem is that we're afraid, we demonize masculinity. We're afraid of masculinity. We're afraid of that kind of harsh energy that's like,
Hmm.
that's firm. But I think boys really need it. I know when I was a kid, I really appreciate it. Like I don't want to. I didn't like tyrannical coaches that were screaming at me, just discharging their own anger.
Well, like that
But
whiplash guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But even that, in the end, it's a great question. It's like, well, did he was he of service to that kid? Like he did get him to that place.
Mm.
But I appreciated the firmness. I needed it. I needed an older man, a coach, because my dad wasn't around, like to straighten me out, to tell me what to do, to give it to me straight, to like grab me by the,
Scruff.
the scruff and like, hey, that's enough. Settle down. Like
Yeah.
boys need that, and I think it's gone out of favor. And I understand why, because maybe it went too far and there was abuse, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I think that needs to come back in a way that's
Mm.
healthy.
Mm. What is it tied to? Tradition, virtues, values for yourself? We can kind of abstract patriarchal values, but they're usually in service to a particular community. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm just wondering for you, what is the bigger structure that you've worked out yourself and then your manhood, your masculinity within?
Well, it's a great question. I've been sorting through it all of my life. I only feel like I've come to something recently, and
Hmm.
it's because I finally got married a couple years ago.
Hmm.
I've been we've been together for about 5, 6 years, but I put it off for a long time. It's not what I expected to happen. It's just the way it worked out. And I think I've been searching, because my dad wasn't around. I didn't really, I think, know how to be a man. Being an actor in Hollywood, there's a place where that did feel emasculating, particularly because I was on a lot of female-oriented shows,
Hmm.
and literally, like, I'm wearing makeup every day. you know,
Yeah.
like I'm playing, like it's something, there was something kind of
Yeah.
feminine, gay about it at a certain point. I was like, oh, I don't like this world, I mean, that's not all of what it is, but I noticed that I had a kind of reaction to it.
Lakotas, sweat
Yeah.
lodges,
Yes.
tobacco pipes.
Yes.
How did you fall in with that tribe?
Started with the music. I met a guy, and I mean, there's a whole synchronicity. Everything that with the Lakota Native American, there's always crazy synchronicity involved. You just have to give over to it. So, yeah, there was a series of synchronicities that led me to this man. I became very interested in the music. I'd heard the music in a certain setting, and it was like, what is that? I mean, of course, I was aware of it, but there was a way that I really tuned into it, and similar to what I was saying when I was up at that workshop, where it's like, oh, I want to know everything
Hmm.
about what this woman is doing. It was a similar experience that I had, and then I met this man. I started learning the songs, He was a Lakota song carrier, Japanese guy actually, very interesting guy. Yoshi, he immigrated from Japan when he was in his early 20s, went out to a reservation in New Mexico, just touring around, and moved on the reservation, which is like such an interesting choice to make, and dedicated his life to the Red Road and became song carrier and a musician, a drummer, Sundance singer. And so I was learning the songs from him and going to Sweat Lodge with him. And then, he introduced me to a lot of the other things, Vision Quest, Sundance, and all of that. And I just became very interested in it, in part because I think there was some kind of masculine leadership force that I was looking for. And it's very, Lakota culture is extremely patriarchal, and I liked it. Tunka Sheila is his grandfather, and but it's very respectful of women. It's not sexist. I don't experience that at all.
What makes it patriarchal? Right?
It's the chiefs are generally men. The image of God is grandfather. Ate is it's a lot like it's similar to Christianity, but there's just the men and women are separated, very often, like that they can lodge together, but in certain situations they don't lodge together. There's a way that the women have to dress, and that there's a lot of tradition. And going back to your question, I think there was something about the tradition that I really was drawn to, that I didn't have that in my life. I was born Catholic, but we weren't really practicing. And so there was something about that tradition that I found interesting, and that there was a lot of wisdom in the tradition and in their ways. And it's very firm. It's strong. It can be harsh, the Sweat Lodge, and all of their practices. Like it's very connected to nature, rocks, fire, earth, air. There was something very primal about it that I don't know, it just attracted me. And I think also there's an initiatory process that you go through that I didn't experience as a man, as a boy. And so there was something about going through that process, these ordeals, like a Vision Quest or a Sunday, like they're extremely challenging. And to do it within the framework of this tradition, it was very powerful. So that I think has informed a lot of my values in the last 10 years, working, with the Lakota on the Red Road and learning all of that. And it's not all of that. I mean, there's a lot of, it's like any society or culture or religion. I mean, there's a broad spectrum of people and styles and approaches and thoughts. But at the core, there's something, I don't know, that just, whatever that masculine force was, or at least how I experienced it, I needed it. And I realized, you need, what iron sharpens iron, like you need the fire to like make you strong, like that, the kind of, the Roman ethic or the Spartan ethic. Like there's something in that I didn't really get. I mean, I was an athlete, but that I realized, I want that. I like that. I want the challenge. I want to be around other men who are holding me to a standard. And sometimes there's even cruelty, it's like, it's part of it. It's okay. Like life is cruel and I have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Have you had a chance to work with younger men, or is your clientele more 30s, 40s dudes?
After I did the interview with Tate, the second one that went viral, a lot of young men started reaching out to me. So I did start working with one-on-one and like with, young guys. And yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. Like, I think they're great. Like, I don't,
Hmm.
now I think young men actually kind of get it. That's my experience. I think they need more leadership, but I was really surprised at the level of awareness and intention and commitment to trying to be good and to understand themselves and to live a noble life. That's what I experience. Obviously, there's a selection bias,
Yeah.
but that is
Men
what
who
I
are
saw.
already on the road toward that.
Yeah, yeah, and who can afford me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they already had a certain level of success, but these are guys in their early mid 20s. I think there are a lot of lost young men out there, unfortunately. I don't know what we're gonna do about it. Obviously, it's a big fucking problem
Hmm.
because you don't want young men filled with testosterone. Although I guess if they're smoking weed and jerking off all day, the testosterone levels are gonna
Yeah.
go down. But those, that's who makes a lot of trouble in society. So I'm more working with the men who would be fathers, I think, and I certainly see, men are. There's a lot of conflicting messages that they get about how they're supposed to exist in the world. There's a lot of confusion. But again, there's a selection bias, but the guys who come to me, I'm always touched and moved by their willingness to look at themselves, examine themselves, take responsibility, their desire to be good fathers, their desire to be good men. Like they're not cynical. They're not bad guys, So
Hmm.
that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm experiencing. So it fills me with a lot of hope. Like, I love men, and usually when I get off, like now I'm doing these group programs, and every time I get off a call, I feel
Hmm.
like excited. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, dudes. Like,
Hmm.
you guys are good. Just, like, actually the main thing is like let go of your shame. Like, you're a good guy. Yeah, you're gonna make mistakes. Okay, yeah, maybe you lose your temper once in a while. You don't always show up in the bed. Okay, it's fine.
Hmm.
You're a good guy at your core. Just keep showing up. Just keep doing your thing. Trust that. That's really the main message.
Is your group work over the internet or is it in person?
I do live workshops as often as I can. Right now, I've been doing them in Austin about every 3 or 4 months.
Oh,
But right now, yeah, I'm doing this. I call it the Relationship King Academy under this banner that I've created, School for Kings. Excuse me. And
hmm.
it's relationship stuff. So it's guys sort of niche down to that market, the guys who are struggling in their relationships. And yeah, I have these cohort trainings with, like, there's small group trainings, 5, 6 guys, and we get into it for 12 weeks. And it's a kind of, yeah, it's a group therapy at the
What do you mean
beginning, but
relationships? Like broadly or?
no, mostly romantic. Yeah, romantic relationships. So it's guys who are either married or in relationships and they're struggling. And my pitch is that women want men to be more in their leadership and in their masculine authority. And that despite what they may say, despite what you might have heard, this is what women actually want. And I think a lot of guys, this was true for me. Like, I didn't know how to show, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to show up in that way. I felt maybe shame about some of my impulses. But I am now in what I would say, a very traditional relationship with my wife, where I'm the provider and she cooks and cleans, which is not how I grew up at all. My mother was a working woman and very busy and very out in the world. Although my wife has I mean, she's deep in her thing that she does. She's not sitting around cooking for me. She's pretty busy. But yeah, there was something in the polarity, the masculine feminine polarity that both of us struggled to adapt to, because of course she had ideas instilled in her by her father, like, you got to make your own money, don't ever rely on a man. And so it was hard for her to like let go of, and she had a small business that she ran for years, and to let go of that, and then basically be dependent on me. But then I have the responsibility to care for her, right? And so there's like, we both have this thing that we have to deal with, and that we're in it together. And now that we've settled into it, it just feels so beautiful and bonding, and I love it. And so I've had to, teach myself and about how to be a man, a modern man who's, in touch with his emotions and able to articulate himself, and can see and appreciate the woman, and knows how to listen to her and affirm her feelings, and all of that, the things that women want. So I'm trying to teach that to guys, like how to show up stronger in the relationship, which is really just about presence. It's just about being there. They want to be able to feel you, but if you are really disassociated from your emotions, you can't feel you. And if you can't feel you, they can't feel you. So a lot of the work is just that, like bringing them back into their body, helping them recognize and name their emotions and learn to be with them, and to let go of the, maybe some of the cognitive distortions that get created when we repress our emotions, the way we can rationalize or justify or blame, whatever it may be. So that's been the focus, and it's great. It's very, very gratifying.
There's a lot of buzzwords that have meaning, but I like to, in my work, figure out what people mean by them. You said leadership. Like, that's such a buzzword. What does that even mean, to be a leader? Like, what are the components of leadership?
Going first. To me, leadership is like the most vulnerable thing. Like, so we think leadership.
You initiate.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go first, right? Like you reached out to me. That's a kind of, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? There's an element of leadership to that. You initiated. I could have rejected you. There's a little risk for you there. I mean, I'm sure you're used to being rejected all the time, but you know what I'm saying? Well, we all are, you know what I mean? It's but my point is, like, it's the initiation. It's I think the ability to hold frame. It's another buzzword that I don't know if you're
what does that mean
with.
in practice, in a relationship? How does one hold frame?
That she's in the masculine feminine dynamic and the polarity. It's like that the man is essentially the container. It's another abstract word, but if you think of it like the dance, like literally, if you ballroom dance, the terminology is like the man holds the frame. So you're the firm one, and then she enters into your frame and like grabs on to your hand, and you are leading her through your body language. And it's important that you're firm and directional, but you also have to be flexible, and you can't be so rigid that you can't feel her, you're not attuned to her, so that you're certainly leading off the energy that she's giving you and her intuition. So it's like you're both leading, but you're sort of doing the work of actually leading, and that's the dance. And so, in polarity, I think it's like you have to be in attunement with your woman, but you have to be the one to take the initiative. You have to be the one, as I said, to hold the frame, which is it's like being directional. Like, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is what's happening. Like, the way that I explain it to my the guys in my group, I'm like, just start by always informing your woman of what you're doing throughout the day. I'm leaving at 3:00. I'll be back. I'm going here. Then I'll be back at 4. And then I was thinking we could eat at 6, and but like just not like rigid instructions, but just like tell her like lay out the schedule. And even if she's not listening, or even if she disagrees, it doesn't matter. Like, you're asserting it, you're laying out the schedule actually relaxes her, because it's an indication that you've got it. that you're
Yeah.
thinking about it. Like that's frame, right? And so it's just little subtle things like that. And we know as men, if I'm going on some hike where into the jungle where I don't know where we're going and up a mountain, waterfall, I'm very happy when there's some dude who's done this hike 1,000 times
Yeah.
who's leading the way and just telling me what to do, and I can just relax and surrender to his leadership. That I love that. And so, that's what I'm trying to teach, man. Like, give
Hmm.
that to your woman, and so she can relax. And then once she's relaxed, that she's inner feminine, and that's really what you want is her to be inner feminine, because then she's going to want to be more devotional to you because you're leading.
Yeah. Loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah.
Reciprocal loyalty, I guess.
Yeah, it's a dance. I mean, it's a dance.
Yeah.
It's also just feels like nature to me. There's something. Listen, there's infinite configurations, and I'm not. I mean, I am advocating for something, but I don't think it's the only way. But there is something beautiful in the masculine feminine dance, and I'm exploring it and discovering it, and now teaching it, and it's especially in a world where we've gone the other way. I mean, I got to University of Toronto in '88, and my first Canadian lit teacher introduced herself as a ardent feminist. I was like, okay, like it was just everywhere. I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds great. I don't know. Yeah, men and women are equal. Sure. Like I never even thought about it. Everything, because my mom was out working and very ambitious. So it
Good
wasn't a
provider.
thing that registered for me. And so I just went along with it until finally I woke up one day and, well, I dated a woman from Texas when I was in LA, and she straightened me out. She's like, well, I don't know
What do
what
you
the
mean?
she was just like, I remember like I didn't open the car door for her. And she's like, you need to open the car door for her. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm a lady. And I was like, I thought that was sexist. And she's like, no. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Huh.
And then yeah, she was not having it. She was like, this is the way I like it. This is the way I want to be treated. This is what it is. That's how she grew up. And then that was the first time I started to really see like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's something about this that's actually very, very sweet.
I know you're out of the entertainment industry, but I think that is another vector of social, just how the future is going to be shaped. And it's been kind of captured by certain ideologies and kind of eating itself alive, becoming more and more uglier, less and less artful. It seems like to me. I'm wondering about like how can I don't want to say right wing because that overly politicizes it, but you're bringing out like this return to nature, a masculine form of living. I'm wondering if you see it needing to be represented more in the arts, or if you'd agitate for that, where you see the representation of a leadership in the arts and in movies and film and acting, if acting can be a masculine form of
Yeah,
expression. And
absolutely. Well, Taylor Sheridan is just all over the place. The guy who created Yellowstone, and he's got
okay.
this new show. I guess it's Landman. Billy Bob
Oh,
Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. Any good?
Right. I watched the pilot. I thought it was ridiculous, but I also can't stop thinking about it. And right after I watched it, I got a message from a friend saying, "Bro, have you seen Landman? It's amazing." I was like, "I just watched it. It's ridiculous." He was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe I need to watch it again." Both my wife and I felt the same way. So I guess I'll go back and
But you can't
revisit.
stop thinking about it.
Yeah, there's something that's stuck in my head. Like that was kind of the same way I felt about Yellowstone. Like I watched all 5 seasons, and there were some seasons or some episodes that were just fantastic, and some that I thought were ridiculous and maybe just lazy, or they were pressed for time. And the scene, I was like, that scene needed another rewrite. Perhaps it could have been a little more sophisticated. But that's how Taylor Sheridan writes, and there's something to it. But his artistry aside, his shows are patriarchal. Like they're centered around, a patriarchal man and his struggles and wrestling with these issues of good and evil. And what do I do with that? And how do I be an honorable man in a world that asks me to do bad things? And that can I survive? Can I protect my family without being bad? Like how do I reconcile all of that? And so it's out there, and those shows are incredibly popular. So I feel like there is a longing for that, and I'm happy to see it. You think back to Hollywood, John Wayne and John Huston and John Ford. Those guys were all Republicans. Hollywood was a Republican place, like Clint Eastwood. And those movies were of their era, but I mean, the masculine values that were championed would, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. A man is not always understood fully. He's not appreciated, but he has to go about his business anyway. And he's there to be of service. Like like John Wayne, he felt the culture was matriarchal and that it was his job to protect the matriarchal culture. That's how he saw it, that he's the protector, right? Like he's the guardian of the family. And so, I think there's something beautiful in that. And I understand why the pendulum swung the other way. And I think that was a good thing. And I guess what's happening is we're trying to figure out that's what I'm trying to figure out in my own life. How do we find that balance? But I have a feeling you're going to see more Taylor Sheridans emerge, more, right-wing style shows in movies, because I think there's a demand for it. And the other thing that I'll say is, and maybe there's a bias being in Austin, it's Texas. And even though Austin is sort of blue,
Purple, yeah.
It's purple, yeah. It's still in Texas, so
Yeah.
I just hear so many women like, I've had it. I've had it with this bullshit. I want a man to take care of me. I want to be provided for. I want to be led. I don't want to go work 70 hours a week as a lawyer, and I think they have a lot of shame about that because they've been told, like, you need to be successful, you need to make your own money, and you don't want to be dependent or reliant on a man. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's just coming from the men. I think it's like the women are also longing for these kind of narratives and stories to be told, because there's just something, when it's done well, it's beautiful, and there's a harmony to it, and I feel that with my wife. And look, in some way, do I have power in the relationship because I'm the provider leader, or am I working for her?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of.
Yeah, the focusing on power, abstracting power from relationship just makes it into a very flat narrative about authority and exploitation and stuff like that. But that's not the purpose of power. Power serves love, or it serves something greater than itself. That's why it exists.
Yes.
To conduct. Are there counterpoints, not counterweights, but like women in the therapy space, or ideas? I know you have your own wheelhouse, so maybe you don't need to look outside for who is serving women, but I'm wondering if there's a counterbalance or trend even for more holistic, harmonious female therapies that respect the masculine, that kind of work in the same vein as you're working, but for women.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that there's a lot of women that are doing that work. I mean, I'm in the space, the wellness space, and Austin is really the center of all of that. And so I've got to meet a lot of people, and that's really the vibe right now in the wellness space in Austin is exactly what you said. Like women, how do I stay empowered? I don't want to give up the last 20 years and this freedom and autonomy and the right to be able to choose. And if I want to become president of the United States, I can. But also if I don't want to, if I want to get married and have babies, like I can do that and I don't have to feel any shame about that. I there's so many women out there that are speaking to that, and not just because obviously you have the trad wife trend on
Yeah.
the right, and there's plenty of men and women speaking to that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's more people who are coaches and therapists who are trying to guide women back to that, and there's a lot of great people. John Wineland is doing a lot of work, polarity work around that. He's
Polarity?
yeah,
What's that?
like the just
Okay.
masculine feminine polarity.
Yeah.
Like David Data. Like I don't. This is a whole world, but
Hmm.
David Data was the original. He wrote a book called Way of the Superior Man, and it's kind of a classic. And he wrote a lot of books about masculine feminine polarity, and these came out in the 90s, and they were obviously in stark contrast to a lot of the feminist ideology. But it was the same thing. Like we need, meaning we have to be of service. We have to. Their polarity exists, masculine and feminine. It's the masculine's job to be a responsibility to be in service of the feminine. But so there's more and more people talking about it. Like there's a longing for it because, like I said, it's just there's something about it that feels natural, and it's just what people want.
Do you do much script writing, or have you dabbled in that side of the art?
I tried to write a couple of scripts, but I could never get there.
Hmm.
I couldn't complete them. I mean, I did complete, but I probably needed more than one or two rewrites. Like I would talk to writers and they would say, "Yeah, my first draft sucked," and I
Yeah.
had to write 3 or 4 drafts to finally get it good. So I took a couple of stabs at it. I did make a documentary about the work that I do. It's an 11-part series
Oh,
where
wow.
I shot a 1 week group therapy retreat and turned it into a 11-part documentary series that exists on the internet. That was a big creative project
How did
behind
you
the camera.
convey the content of this retreat through that medium?
Well, we just like a reality show. We just shot it. We just brought 20 people in and the facilitator, and this was 2008 that I did this, and yeah, we just mic'd everybody up, and we just had 3 cameras going in the room, and we shot the whole thing for a week, and it was really powerful, and it was. The question, of course, is do the cameras affect the work?
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah. Well, the cameras, of course, the camera affects the work. But when you're doing the work, you're in a room with however many people, but you're being witnessed by other people, and so there is an audience there that you could be performing for. I actually think the camera makes things a little bit more urgent. And obviously, as a former actor, I have a relationship with the camera. Like when you're trying to be truthful or honest and you know that the camera is on you, like you can't fool it. I can maybe fool you, but I can't, the camera's neutral.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so like there's something about it compels you to be real. So I found that the camera people were it made it more urgent, and that people were in some sense more real with the camera on. They less likely to be fake because I think they knew they'd be
And yet not on
exposed.
edge so
What do
much.
you what do you mean on
Well,
edge?
Well, when you interact with somebody who hasn't been around a camera and they don't know how to talk to it or talk through it, I
Right,
guess, is to
right.
say, like they like frozen a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
It
like an
took them a day
edginess.
or two. I think
Yeah.
the interviews were harder for people than the actual shooting, what was going on, the therapy going on in the room, because the facilitator was so skilled and
Mm.
she, just the way that she would talk and hold things, like she would pull you into her vortex. But they told me the cameras went away pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and they just dissolved into it. They stopped thinking about it. And I've done it. I did a pilot for HBO based on that series, and with me and this other woman facilitating. So I had the experience of that. And yeah, the cameras kind of go away, but people don't reveal the same level of story. So if we're private, you might say something specific about your wife.
Yeah.
You're not going to say that on camera.
Well, if you're smart, no.
Exactly. But or your mother, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
not like that's where it gets a little bit restrictive, because somebody might, come to one of my workshops and say I've been cheating on my wife for 12 years and confess that, and we'll work with it. They're not doing that if it's on camera.
What's the name of the documentary out there? Because I'm sure
It's
people are going to want to click
Yeah,
it.
it's called Group. That's the name of the documentary. So if you go to groupdocuseries.com, or just Google groupdocumentaryseries.com, or on my website, you can find it. It's really powerful. It's very weird at first, but if it's like
Hmm.
anything, if you give it a go, if you kind of commit to it, get into it a little bit, it starts to reveal itself, and
Just like
it's quite
Landman, apparently.
just like well, we'll see,
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm gonna go back tonight.
Yeah. What are some interesting ideas that have like lately really caught your interest, or that you feel is like the next place where the conversation's going, or where your work is going, or where your interest is attending to?
Well, I guess related to what we've been talking about, the thing that I've been wrestling with personally, I just had a long conversation with another therapist yesterday, is the over therapizing of everything that's going on. That you can always assign some unconscious motive, or evaluate everybody's action and activity
Hmm.
psychologically. Like, and I can do that. Like there is always something going on there, right? And you can point to it and you can try to figure it out. Oh, this is their dad issue, or this is their distortion,
Yeah.
this is their defense. They're playing this out. And it's a kind of game. And I remember a couple of years ago, I felt that there was something not good about that. Like it was its own distraction, its own defense,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
stopping me from actually being. It was in my head,
Mm.
right? Thinking about like the world that way.
Yeah. Like,
And then
look at
when
all these cluster B people or these
right,
narcissists.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I just got the feeling I was missing something. And then I paid attention to all the people pushing back against therapy. I mean, I would read some of the things that they would say, and but there was a lot of things I was like, yeah, no, I agree with that. Like there are things that they said that were true. And then when I look at what's happening in the world right now, particularly with immigration, and you have what's going on in the UK, or at least how I perceive it, or how it's being shown to me. I don't actually know what's going on over there, but it looks like there's a lot of immigrants coming in, and there's some kind of like culture war. Well,
Hmm.
I'm a white guy from the UK. Like that's where my ancestors are from, Ireland and the UK. And I can feel this part of me that's like, fuck that. Like
Hmm.
I got to protect my land. I got to protect my territory. Like, and people can call it racist, or they can pathologize it like that's your fear. It's like, dude, I'm a fucking animal. Like I'm
Mm.
a primate, and primates like protect their territory.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying in my own mind to parse out like those two things. Like what's like I am an animal, right? I have instincts and I can't overcome them. And I'm very interested in evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology. And I think it's very important that we understand that and the things that are going on there, and that we have a spiritual aspect of ourselves. And I love the story of Christ and Christ consciousness and forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. I mean, that's
Hmm.
as an ideal of man, it's like hard to get any better than that. It's wow. But
Hmm.
also, like, if somebody comes in some other and wants to take what's mine, I can feel this part of me. It's like, fuck that.
Hmm.
Like, we're going to war. And so I'm trying to like reconcile those two aspects of my being and figure out where we are in all of that and where I am in that and how to operate responsibly
Hmm.
in what's happening, because there is, there's a lot of ways to look at things, but there's some collapse happening, like some change, some evolution, like things are not what they were and we don't know where they're going. And that creates a lot of fear and anxiety. And I think
Yeah.
when there's a lot of fear and anxiety, people tend to go primal.
Yeah, it's ironic. I see there's supposedly infighting among the right, but it's really the people who are newly to the right wanting to kind of control what the right is
Yeah.
trying to express. But Fuentes, the dust up around Tucker and Fuentes for the last 2 weeks, going on and on and on, uh, really misses the mark in my mind. If you give Fuentes, if he's the only one who can say certain things that are true, then he has all the power because he can keep on saying those things, and you can run
Yeah.
around. Oh no, he's saying the thing, but people are, and he's going to get better and better at saying them because he keeps on saying them. He's practicing his ass off, and the response to that, like we have to protect ourselves from tribalism, like this whole war on tribalism. I've been coming around too. Maybe I don't know if this is what you're saying or not, because I was a staunch, rather classical liberal. We can transcend tribalism. We're
Right.
all humans. We're all equal. I'm like, well, yeah, but then I watch over and over and over again these people who try to deny tribalism end up identifying more and more with the outgroup because they don't want to see that they have tribalism too. As a
Right.
white man, I'm not supposed to have a tribe. And I'm like, well, if I can accept that, then it's not toxic anymore. It's just kind of a part of life. You have your tribe, I have my tribe.
Yeah.
And I have something to bring to the world, you have something to bring to the world, but you can't erase my identity and plus affect my whole lineage. You can't disparage my whole lineage. You can't do that
No.
anymore.
No, you can't do that.
And so I'm becoming less allergic to racism in a way, and
No,
finding out
I'm pro
where does it
racism
go?
right now. Yeah.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
From your
No, we
safe
need to be
mountaintop in
more
Mexico.
racist.
I was talking to
No.
my wife about this. Like, there's a healthy amount of racism that's encapsulated in the '90s stand-up comedian or the blue collar kind of comedy where the black person makes fun of the white and the Mexican, and the Mexican makes fun of the white and the black guy, and the white guy gets to make the fun of the other two or the other three groups too. And that making fun of is the way to accept and release it. But to bring it up as, like when you're shaking somebody's hand, that's not just a polite gesture. That's like, I don't have a weapon. You don't have a weapon.
Right.
And then you're also testing each other's strength. So there's this background radiation of violence that can happen anytime. But if you recognize it, then you can go on to the next thing. But if you deny it and deny it and deny it and deny it, you're stripping yourself of your biology, your strength. And then you're also setting yourself up to being blindsided or broadsided by it when it reexerts itself on the stage.
Totally. No, that's. I mean, very well said. That's all. This is what I've been wrestling with and trying to come to terms with. And in terms of the jokes, racial jokes, like as you're just describing, it's also like that's what asserts equality. Like, if you can make a joke about me, then but I can't make a joke about you, then we're not actually equal.
Yeah.
So you're literally of creating separation on
Yeah.
on a personal energetic level. And I remember I played basketball at U of T, University of Toronto.
How tall are you?
I'm
Or
six
were
two.
you?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
I
wow.
was a point guard. I was a point
Okay.
guard. I was one of the shorter guys in the team, but um, six black guys, six white guys. And in Toronto, in the late 80s, early 90s. And man, that's all it was racial jokes all the time, like bussing on each other.
Yeah.
And it was a way that we created brotherhood because that's what men do. They make fun of each other and they make fun of their characteristics. One guy's going bald, one guy's got some weird whatever, and you bust them for it. Well, obviously, you know, going black
It's
and
gonna come
white,
back.
it's
Yeah.
right there. It's like
Yeah.
it's right there. You got to go for it. And I that's where I learned how this all worked, and I thought it made perfect sense to me, and we all got along. It didn't feel like there was anything weird, and not exclusively, but often at the end of the day, the black guys would go off with the black guys, and the white guys would go off with the white guys. And that was also interesting to me. But there was no problem with it.
Yeah.
It just was like we go with the people that were kind of more alike.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think tribalism is innate. It's not it doesn't have to be bad. And I think we're coming to terms with that. I think we have to come to terms with that because this idea of a melting pot, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and I don't think the people who want to control right-wing discourse, broadly speaking, right-wing discourse, the edgy stuff on the right, and the people who are trying to control it are leading through anxiety and fear, and I can hear it in their voice when they speak, and I can hear it in their tenor and their desire to be the school monitor, hall monitor, and it's like there's like a certain amount of bullying that they did get and that they didn't get that got them stuck in this place where they think that they can control how people interact, and nobody's going to follow, especially the guys that they're scared of. Nobody's going to follow somebody that's scared of them.
No, not at all. It's so funny you say about the bullying because I tweeted out about like 4 months ago. We need to bring back bullying. These
like a wise bullying that knows
these
itself.
nerds are out of control. They need to get stuffed into a fucking locker, and that's the problem with the internet. Like some of the shit people are saying on the internet, it's like, dude, you would never say that shit to my face because you get punched in the face. There's no repercussion for this kind of thing. So. Yeah, it's so, I mean, you tweeted about this the other day and you just nailed it. Yeah, it's kind of the new woke. It's so odd to me that people like Lindsay are labeling, I guess, Fuentes is woke, right? I'm like, dude, you're woke. You're the woke.
Yeah,
you're policing. He's not policing anybody. He's just saying what he thinks. That's it. He's not trying to tell anybody what to do. He's just expressing himself. That's what I see. So,
I'm trying to find what initiated me reaching out to you. All I have is a date. I should.
Yeah, no, it was I liked one of your tweets where you said some version of that. Like, you just nailed it, and it was very gratifying to me because the language you used I was like, yes, exactly, thank you, because nobody else was saying that. I mean, there's a few people were, but it's very weird. I don't know, to be online and narratives take hold, and I'm sitting there like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? That doesn't make any sense to me. But this person they went to Harvard and they're super successful. I guess maybe they know. Is it, and I'm like, no, these people are fucking insane.
What's coming up for you? Do you have any, do you do more, I guess you do interviews, but do you do like workshops, online video stuff like that? Where can people find you? Do you have a book? Several books?
I don't have a book. The Way of the Dude. Did a big meditation, session on Sunday, and like, what's next for me? And the first thing that came up was it's time to write a book. So,
sorry,
I'm going to write a book, I guess. I am doing, go to my website. I have the main thing I'm doing is this Relationship King Academy. I have these cohort trainings that start up every six weeks or so with a new group of 6 guys, and we go through
in person.
No, these are online.
Okay.
and it's a whole training, and there's like a whole video series, the whole thing, and that's where most of my energy is right now. But I also do live workshops, which are great, and meaning that's the place you can really, get it
Okay.
out, all the
Yeah.
stuff we were talking about earlier. And then, yeah, I'd like to get back to doing more. It just hasn't felt like I did that interview with Tate. I've done interviews with sort of therapy style interviews with different people, and they've gone over really well. Blair White, I did one with guy Danny Morell, some other people, and I love them, but
Mm.
I haven't. I've had some hesitation about pursuing it, how I want to pursue it. But when I get back to Austin, I'm going to do that. I'm going to build a set and do it
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah, because it just kind of demands that. There's a certain
Hmm.
vibe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I haven't crossed that in-person threshold.
why not?
It's cheaper to just turn on a camera and
Yeah.
boot up Zoom.
Well, I
Plus, I
was
don't have to
what?
worry about flying people in and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
No, I
have
understand. I
the
understand.
overhead. Yeah.
But there's something about, well, for me, the live, if I'm doing therapy style interviews, doing it live.
Yes.
But I don't know if you've seen the show Couples Therapy.
No.
It's worth watching.
Is that on YouTube or Netflix?
It's on, I think you can get it on Amazon. It's a
Okay,
Showtime
so it
show.
is a show. It's a show.
Yeah, it's a show. It's a proper show. It's
Yeah.
very well produced, and the therapist is excellent. Ona, I think her name is, and she has all these couples and there's numerous seasons of it, but there's no cameras in the room, and so I became upset. I'm like, how the fuck are they shooting this show? And then I did all this research, and they have these
Drones?
mirrors. No, they
Oh,
have like a teleprompter has like a 45-degree mirror,
that's
and
what
it's
you're talking into, right?
that's what I'm talking into right
Yeah.
now. So it's basically they have these mirrors, and then on they on the set, it's like just a shelf that has some kind of fabric or something, so it looks like it's kind of wallpaper or
Oh,
something on
okay.
the wall that's natural, but they're actually shooting through that, so you don't see the cameras. And as soon as I figured that out, I'm like, I'm fucking doing that.
They do that.
I
Yeah.
need to have that, because there's some creative itch that I have, from when I did my documentary, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun to put I mean, I edited the whole thing by myself, and
Yeah.
to create something that was really satisfying. So there was something about just shooting a podcast. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But then when I was like, oh, I could fucking shoot it from all these different angles of the camera, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
There's there's something about what you're talking about with your work with the men that has a little dimension to it. There's men's retreats and masculinity stuff, and your pen tweets about the masculinity thing. It's
Yeah.
like you go on a journey and you find God and you own it, and then you deliver. That whole process. But I
Yeah.
like how you're focusing on relationship. I think that a lot of what's missing in the gender slop level of it is people are yearning for relationship but not willing to have relationship and work on relationship. And the gender issue, the whole reason why we are dimorphic sexually is because of God or nature wanted us to be in relationship with each other. The whole reason a man is a man is and a woman is a woman, and they're different, is to come together. And so just this free floating idea of masculinity is kind of awesome, like Hercules and loyalty
Sure.
and leadership, all these words, but it until it's tied to a relationship, it's always going to be an abstraction or a fairy tale. And even the fairy tales show that's always in relationship to relationship. So I like how and so I wonder, doing all that therapy work, how you landed on masculinity in relationship to relationship. Like, why did relationship come up to you as the thing that you're focusing on?
It's a great question. I mean, I love everything that you just said. I needed a niche,
Okay.
and I felt like it was on some level it was just practical, I actually felt a little like I struggled in a relationship for most of my life. So it's like I didn't really feel like I was, it's not like I've been married for 20 years and I have all this wisdom to impart. But
Mm.
what I do understand is I do understand how men work emotionally. And I have developed a set of skills that allow me to,
A
in my
particular set of
relationship,
skills.
a
Yeah.
particular set of skills, exactly, that I know how to navigate conflict. And there's some skill
Mm.
set that I've learned that when my wife and I get into conflict, it's not that I'm perfect or like Zen. I'm not. I lose my shit and we get in fights just like every couple. But because of all the experience that I've had and the training that I've done, there's a way that I can
Mm.
bring it home, take responsibility, validate her experience, and the right use of language. And I could feel
Hmm.
like, wow, like I would bring the fight home. And I thought, man, men need to be able to do this. Like
Hmm.
this would be huge. Like that's actually a part of leadership,
Hmm.
is negotiating and navigating conflict, but not denying yourself. Like you have to be able to express your feelings.
Hmm.
It's not just about her. Like you need to be seen, you need to be understood. Like you have needs and they need to be expressed. And she has a responsibility as well as you having a responsibility. And so it's like both. And I just
Hmm.
think that men, I didn't know how to do that, and I'm still learning how to do it. But I know that the more that I do it, the more that I show up, the more that I'm real, the more that I'm vulnerable. Like this idea that men shouldn't be vulnerable in relationship. I understand what they're saying. Like, don't be a little boy and make her your mother. But
Yeah.
vulnerability is just honesty. Like
Yeah.
that's what's
Yeah.
vulnerable is being real. And so that's what women want. Like they want you to be real. They want you to be contained. They don't want you to be overly needy, but they
Yeah.
also do
Or
want you
overly
to,
aggressive.
or
Yeah.
overly aggressive. Yes. But they do want you to express yourself. They want to be able to feel you. And so that's really, I guess I felt like because I came from the kind of jockey world, and when I see guys like Andrew Tate, I get it. I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I know that guy. I have that
Yeah.
in me. Like I'm no problem. I understand when he's joking and when he's not.
Yeah.
And I understand what's going on underneath the surface. It's all fine. I wouldn't take it that far, bro, but okay. Have a good
Hmm.
time. You do you. But then I also got trained with, in this very feminine way with a lot of women, and really, went
Mm.
into the emotional body, and affirming and understanding and compassion, and really being with. And so it's like there's like a kind of a merging of those two that I'm trying to embody
Yeah.
and then teach. And so I think that makes me. I mean, there's other people out there that are sort of like me, but I guess I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm like the bro therapist.
There's something poetic, or I guess in Hollywood it's called typecasting. You played a
Hmm.
father, and it seems like that's been your whole role, your journey of like getting closer and closer to being, and playing to be and being to play
Yeah.
that. And I could see
Yeah.
your book from you about man, like masculinity through a marriage lens, like the married man,
Yeah.
meditations on a married man, or something like that.
Oh, it's good. I might steal that.
No, it's yours, in exchange for sitting down with me for an hour on my show.
No,
But
man, it's
David,
good.
where can people find you, and where are they going to find when they get there?
Uh,
I'll
David
link it.
Sutcliffe, davidsutcliffe.com, my website. And it's all kind of laid out there. It's a simple
Yeah.
website, basically just with a bunch of links. The first thing is it's my master class or my webinar, which is the portal into my funnel to my training. So if you're interested in that, that's the thing to watch, and it'll give you a sense of what I'm up to and what my philosophy is. But then everything else is there, my social media, all the interviews that I've done, and some of my writing, and then whenever there's a workshop, you can find that there as well. That's
Mhm.
it's all, yeah. If this is resonating, yeah, come look me up and let's do some work. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. I rarely know who I'm going to interview. I mean, who they are. I'll
Uh-huh.
just like switch out and then you get them into the room or the set or this Zoom call. I just really enjoyed you. Like you're just a solid guy. I just felt really, yeah, like honesty. It's not
Thank you.
vulnerability is kind of female coded, but you're just like
Right.
really who you are. It's just really nice to interact with you. It's really refreshing.
No, I appreciate that. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. So it's I'm yeah, very delighted to be on your show.
Oh, my pleasure. Let me end the recording. Like actually, instead of having the electronics do it.